Welcome to Same Spit, Different Face TV. Well, my opinions is facts, and if you don't like my opinions, you can start your own podcast. And it's free. So don't forget to spit on the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification. Spit Squad, the Young Thug and YSL case should have been dismissed, and we all get a chance to see that Fonnie may be on BS. She gave YFN Lucci the exact same charge, but when you look at his case, she actually allowed him to get a plea deal, and he's able to get out when someone actually died in his car who went on a drive-by. But in Young Thug, he's not tied or attached to any direct murders. And Republican candidate Courtney Kramer, she's had enough, and she's a Republican, and she released an official press statement. She said, Atlanta, Georgia, the following is a statement from Fulton County District Attorney Republican nominee Courtney Kramer regarding the ongoing YSL trial. As the Republican nominee for Fulton County District Attorney, I have watched this ongoing trial and endless prosecution of YSL with no apparent justice in sight. I have become highly concerned and disappointed in the lack of prosecutorial oversight in this case. As time goes on, the public has tirelessly witnessed a trial that is undoubtedly over-prosecuted by attorneys who have repeatedly been admonished for lack of trial preparation, a complete and utter waste of court's time. Prosecutors have had one judge condemn the state for not following the ethical and legal duty to disclose exculpatory evidence that could prove fruitful for the defense. One of the most basic requirements in the courtroom. With more than 180 acts listed in the indictment with 28 defendants, this case was brought to bring fame to Fonte Willis, not to bring justice to the community. I am absolutely dumbfounded as the motives is spending endless amounts of taxpayer dollars on a prosecution that is based almost entirely on a witness with little to no credibility. Not only have I lost any ounce of faith in the justice system, in fact, being served and the people in Fulton County are being advocated for in an ethical and transparent manner. But this case should have ended by now. Even former DA Paul Howard declined to bring this case, and now the public can see why. If I am elected as the next district attorney of Fulton County, I promise to end this prosecution immediately. I challenge my opponent to do the same thing, the right thing, and end this prosecution and release those who are accused in this case and who are being held without bond. If elected, I intend to restore justice, transparency, and integrity to the office of the district attorney, and to dismiss the YSL case will be my first official action towards that goal. Fulton County citizens should feel safe in their own homes, parking their cars on the streets, and shopping in their own communities. Victims of X crimes should know that their elected prosecutorials are spending taxpayer dollars clearing the backlog of grape kits and not prosecuting cases for media attention. This is not about right versus left. This is about right versus wrong. Above all else, this is about the future of Fulton County and holding accountable those who are elected to serve and seek actual justice. Now, when I look at this situation, Donald Trump spoke about Young Thug and the YSL case on Aiden Ross' stream, and basically I believe that's what put this on her radar, because she's a Republican, and she probably said, yo, this is an angle that I can run for. This is an angle that I can get the people behind me. This is an angle that I can get all of the rappers and the popular people in the city to vote for me. Now, a lot of people, a lot of my white people that I know, they tell me how the Republicans are racist, but I always ask them, hey, if they're racist and they're doing things for the black community, well, then what are the Democrats who not racist but not doing anything for the black community? And I think a lot of times when you're in a position of middle class, or you're in a position of higher middle class, or when you're in a position of lighter pigmentation on your skin, you have the chance to pick for the lesser evil and be like, well, they're not doing this, but they're doing that, so this would work out good for me. But when you're in a position of a black person, you're trying to take any win that you can get. So if she claimed to come in and free Young Thug, that feels like a win for everybody. If Donald Trump is able to sign off on a First Step Act, well, it can get guys of non-violent offenses who's been put in jail for 20, 30 years for weed charges, and weed is now legal. It feels like a win for us. So in my personal opinion, you can't keep telling me the Democrats are non-racist and the Republicans are racist. But even if they doing it just for show, they're doing a good deed. And one thing about me, and I know some people may listen to this later and may feel like, why is he spreading this rhetoric, or why is he saying this? Well, the reason I'm saying this is because this is an opinion that I have on what's going on right now. And one thing I have to say, and I think I might have said it already, is I don't care if somebody is doing the right thing to get attention for themselves or to get fame for themselves. All that matters is if they did the right thing. It's no different than these social media influencers who run up on people at their job at Wendy's and say, hey, I'll give you $10,000 if you quit your job right now. Or they run up on a homeless person and say, hey, here's a box of pizza and here's $5 and some soap. And all they doing it for is a benefit of gain, because they're going to spend $100 on however many boxes of pizza, but they're going to make so much money back off of that content. Now, if they really wanted to make a real difference, what they would do is, hey, I'm going to go and buy these pizzas for these people, and I'm going to give them this and I'm going to give them money. But also, when I get this check back from YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, I'll take 25% of that money or even 50% of that money, because I am exploiting these people and their homelessness, because I'm only going to feed them once, and then for the rest of their life, I'm not bringing them everything else. I'm not coming back every other week to feed them, or I'm not trying to see how I can help them get to a food kitchen or a shelter or something like that. Now, if you take that money and put that money into the economy of your homelessness, so donate to some shelters, donate to maybe starting a food pantry, donate to maybe getting the women hygiene products, and donate to maybe getting the men haircuts, socks, and shoes. Maybe even donate some of that money to saying, okay, we're going to put them in a hotel. We'll take 5 of them. We'll listen to their stories. We'll interview them. Whoever have the best story, we'll put them up for a month, and we'll try to help them get a job, oversee them getting on their feet, kicking whatever addiction they have, and moving forward. But nobody criticized these people, because most of the people who are doing these things, it makes people feel like it's a feel-good story. Oh, my God, he went and gave them some pizza. But when the camera goes off, he goes back to his house, sleep in his bed, and that person they gave that box of pizza to is still sleeping under a bridge and probably will never see them again. But that video they posted on YouTube of that homeless person made them $20,000, and they only spent $5 on that individual pizza that they was giving to that guy, and that $5 or $20 or $100 that they gave to that guy to exploit him for the day. So we have to stop being holier than thou when we look at politics. I'm not a Democrat or a Republican, so I'm in a position of where I can give praise to anybody. If Trump do something good, I'm gonna say it's good. If he do something bad, I'm gonna say it's bad. If a Democrat, Biden, do something good, I'm going to say it's good. If a Democrat, Biden, or Kamala do something bad, I'm going to say it's bad. When it comes to politics, I don't dead lock in on something. I don't pick and choose based on if it's a woman, if it's a Democrat, if they white, if they black, if they tall, if they short. That's not how I look at saying who's doing what's right or what's wrong. We have to look at the things that these people do on point by point basis, on person by person basis, and say who's doing the most for our community, who's doing, who gives us the best chance to strive. And then once we see that and we look at both of them and we say, well, this person is doing 9 things, but this person is doing 10 things. Then we'll say, okay, who's doing better for the nation as a whole? Well, this person who only doing 9 things for the black community, but they're doing 30 things to help the nation as a whole, and then we have a person who's doing 10 things for the black community, but they're only doing
15 things to help the community as a whole, and everything else they lobbying for themselves and their friends, well, then we have to vote against the person who's not voting to help the nation. But that's not how anybody vote. Everybody votes in their own interest. No matter how they try to tell you they voting for the best of everybody else, most people lock in on the points that they really like, that they really feel like fit their life or what they want to see the world look like in the future, and they vote based on that. A Chicago lunch lady, man, she got the worst end of the situation. Now, I won't say what she did was right, but I didn't get the full story of why they say she did it or how she did it, but it was still a crime. But she ended up stealing, I guess they say $1.5 million worth of wings. She must have ordered them at the city's expense, because she was ordering, but they never got taken to the kids. And maybe at some point they probably started to look and be like, man, we running through way too many wings. And when they probably looked at who was ordering the wings, it was her. And when they probably looked at what where the wings was going, they were probably seeing her take the boxes out of the building. And at that point, they was like, oh, she's stealing from the school. She technically stealing money when she's stealing product, right? So like I said, she's from Chicago. She's a 68-year-old woman. And basically they sentenced her to 9 years in jail for stealing that chicken. And I think that's ridiculous. Yes, it was a crime, but they could have gave the 68-year-old woman probation or something, but it always be some BS behind it. Anyway, football player, NFL star Chris Jones says, I'll pay for the wings. He just want the lady released. And this be my problem with rappers sometime, man. Rappers be running around talking about their chains. They be talking about their jewelry. They be talking about all the money they make in the community, which we know they fake trapping. They ain't really getting no money in the hood. They just rappers, because if they was really trapping, you know what? Never mind. But I'm happy that this guy stepped up and he's trying to hopefully get her out of jail for this. Maybe paying this fine can reverse it. But I think that when a lot of people heard that she was stealing chicken wings, they probably just thought like, oh, this will just be on a slap on the wrist. She's 68. She'll probably get some probation or something, but she didn't. So one thing I want to tell people is when you see stuff like this, start trying to come to the aid of these people in the beginning. Don't wait until the judgment and the accountability comes down. No, try to put that person in a position as to not even have to get to this point. And at 68 years old, this lady should be able to retire, but she's not. So it's actually a deeper problem than this, that a 68-year-old is still having to work. So I would ask myself, what was the purpose of her taking these chicken wings and what she was doing with them? And it would probably, if you looked into the situation a little more closer, you would probably see that she was just doing this to survive. And I know they may say 1.5 million worth of chicken wings, but this may have been over a span of 6 years. It may have been over a span of 7 years. And also I'm sure because she saw them as being free merchandise, she could have been buying them for $20 a box, but only selling them for $10 a box. So very unfortunate situation. Like I said, she should be held accountable for her actions, but we also should look at this a little deeper and see what was really going on. Quando Rondo has pled guilty in his conspiracy case, and he's facing up to 5 years. He gave an apology. How long do I think Quando Rondo will get? I probably think he'll probably get about 3 years. He'll probably serve maybe 1.5 of that. I personally think that the state likes Quando Rondo. I think that they're going to be lenient with him. And I think with all the things that he went through previously with the shooting and everything, I think that the state kind of looks at him as like a hero, to be honest. So I don't think they're going to lock him up and throw the key away. Now, is it possible he can get 5 years? Of course. But when he instantly take this plea deal that they worked out, he don't make them go to court, he don't make them spend all this extra money, they'll look at it and say, all right, we want a conviction on our record. We got a conviction that's going to help our career move forward. He's a big time fish. He's a well-known rapper. He's a high profile celebrity, and we can use this later on when we're running for DA or when we're running for mayor or when we're running for anything. We can say, hey, we've put away people, and we don't care if they're a celebrity or not, XYZ, and this looks great on their resume, whether they're trying to be a judge or anything else. So I think they'll just be happy with the conviction. If they really wanted anything big out of him, they would have gave him big years to look at. But by them only trying to get him 5 years, it's definitely a petty crime in their eyes. So I don't see him sitting there too long. Salute to Tom Brady. Now, this is one of my favorite stories. Why is this my favorite story? Because Tom Brady's wife divorced him. She was messing around with the karate guy. Tom Brady did a roast. She tried to make him seem like the bad guy when she's the one who stepped out on him, when she's the one who wanted to leave the marriage. And she decided to do that after he decided to retire and after he's not playing football anymore. Allegedly, that's why she did it, or that's how it went. But anyway, she went to the court and she said, hey, I want to get Tom Brady's properties. I need these. I want half of this, or whatever she said. And the court had to inform her that, hey, he don't own any of these properties. These properties are in his mother's name, and therefore you're not entitled to them because they're not his property. Now, I know a lot of y'all might be out there thinking, hey, the judge knows that he brought these properties, so why won't he still just make him give them to her? Because they're not in his name, so technically he don't own them. Listen, Tom Brady is winning on the field, off the field, in the roast, in the business room. It's just all around the board. So salute to Tom Brady. The bum Colin Kaepernick said that he wants to be back on the NFL field. Now, why I'm calling him a bum is because I don't like the way that he handled everything. If you feel like it's really collusion and you really doing it for the fight and you really trying to get your chance back at the NFL, the best route to get a chance back to the NFL is to say, hey, I want these emails to come out. Hey, I want everybody to see that it's not because I wasn't talented enough, but it was because of the way you guys were treating me. But guess what Colin Kaepernick did? He took the easy way out. Now, when I say the easy way out, imagine if Rosa Parks was sitting on that bus, they took off the bus, they took her to jail, and they did her injustice, and then Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, and everybody else was just like, well, you know, we do believe she was done an injustice, but if you just give her free bus rides for the rest of her life, we'll drop this whole issue and we'll send the rest of the black people to the back of the bus. Nah, you're not. Once they give Rosa Parks that money, they don't care about what Rosa Parks talking about. Once they give her that money, what's going to end up happening is every time she comes to that bus stop, the bus driver has been instructed to not pick her up from that bus stop. Why? Because she's going to cause a ruckus and have us back in litigation. And one thing they don't want to do is be back in this litigation, especially since you've given up all your leverage. Now, if you would have waited and let everything come out, at least you could have been a proper type of martyr. Everybody could have looked at it and said, wow, we feel bad for this guy, Colin Kaepernick. But no, he weaponized the black plight. He weaponized the black man. He weaponized the black woman. He weaponized Nike. He weaponized football when he didn't have to. And when he first started, I think it started out pure. But I think when he looked at the lawsuit, the people probably told him, well, it's going to take about 4 or 5 years to finish this if we go to court, or it's going to take 6 or 7 years to finish this when we go to court. And Colin Kaepernick said, well, you know what? I can't wait that long. Can we go to arbitration? So now he even let them cut his tongue out. He's not even allowed to speak about the NFL in public in a disparaging way. So every time the season starts, he's saying, oh, I would like to be back in the NFL. Bro, you're never going to be on an NFL roster again. And if you are, they're going to put you in such a bad situation, you may die on the field from getting sacked and hit so much. But his man, Jim Harsbrough, say, you know what? Yo, Cap is my guy. So what I want to do is I want to give him an opportunity. I want to put him on my team, the Chargers, but I want to put him on there as a coach, not as a football player. And I can respect that. Listen, you want to be back in the NFL. If you really love football and you really want to be around football as much as you say you do, here you go, Colin. Get your chance to get back in the NFL. Get in there as a coach. Earn you a nice check. Have a redemption story. And be able to speak up for other players. Be able to help other quarterbacks be able to work their angle and be able to put themselves in a good position and not be treated how you would treat it. And then when it's time for them to stand on something, you can teach them how to stand on something instead of running away from it how you did. I do not, under no circumstances, feel sorry for Colin Kaepernick. About last week sometime, Cardi B basically said in like a little space where they get to talk that she would drug and rob men again. She don't care about it. And the only reason she getting to say this is because her demographic is black and Latino mans. If her demographic were white man, if her demographic were Indian man, if her demographic were Italian man, if it was any of these other races, people would be up in arms. But because it's not, and it's just black and Latino man, they kind of just take it as what it is. Now imagine if a man was in one of these spaces saying, you know, I stole money out her purse when she went to sleep, and I do it again because women prey on men. They prey on men by getting their money, going on dates for them that they really don't want to be on. So I don't really want to do a deep dive into this. I think she said it the first time. She kind of apologized for it. It was over with because she was basically saying that she was drugging and robbing, man. But now, you know, she said it again, and how she justified is like, yo, they come in there to try to get something for me for money. So why don't I just skip the part where they get something for me money and just rob them? But I don't think it's right either way. I don't think it's right that the men are bringing her there and telling her, hey, you want some of XYZ of my money, then, you know, you give me some of that. But also, when we look at life, we have to say, well, if we feel like prostitution is wrong and men spending money on women for prostitution is wrong, well, what's the difference when one of these big conglomerates find a woman on the streets that's 21 years old and say, hey, come under this contract, we're going to sign you to insert big company's name where you can do P movies for us, or we're going to sign you to a deal where we're going to help you create content on OnlyFans. So I feel like if one is wrong, the other should be wrong. And everything I'm talking about, to be clear, I'm talking about in a consensual matter. I'm talking about 25-year-old man meeting a 25-year-old woman and saying, hey, I want to skip all of these issues, all of this talking. I want to give you $2,500 for you to do XYZ for me. I'm not saying that's right. I'm saying it's wrong. But what I'm asking you guys is, what's the difference between a guy flat out offering a woman $2,500 for some of that P, and the difference between a company giving her however many dollars when she's 25 or 21-year-old and putting her in multiple scenes with other men where she's getting paid? The guy who sent his son off to go in and rob PNB ROck, and the guy's son ended up killing PNB ROck. Well, in a twist of events, that guy ended up getting found guilty of the rapper's murder. He ended up getting sent to jail for the murder. And guess what? His son won't even be going to jail because the judge found his son not competent to stand trial. So I don't know if that means that the son is going to go to like a mental facility for a little while. I don't know exactly what's going to happen with the son, but the son's life isn't going to be as hard as the dad's life is. And guess what? If the dad was a real N-word, he would have just went in there himself. If the dad was a real nigga, he would have just went in there himself. He would have said, man, PNB and ROck in there, let me go get my pistol and my mask. I'm going back to get this. And this is why you don't send people to do things for you in certain situations. You sent this kid in there to basically, yo, it's going to be easy. He a rapper. He going to give it right up. Don't worry about it. You going to have a gun. If anything go wrong, you'll be able to scare him. I can imagine him probably giving him a pep talk like that. That's allegedly. That's how I feel like the pep talk went. And this guy went in there who's not competent to stand trial, so he's definitely not competent to take orders to commit a robbery, a strong arm robbery. And when things went wrong, he wasn't competent enough to think for himself. And the gun went off, and it was like, let me get out of here with this. But no, nothing is happening. So the father tried to help him flee. But the father had a girlfriend, and allegedly the girlfriend ended up telling them where they were trying to flee to, and all of that happened, man. When you put these women in your crime, or when you put yourself in a crime, and the woman know what you did or who you are or what's going on, she's going to definitely tell on you 1,000% if she not from the streets. So what you have to do is you have to make sure that you don't tell your girlfriend or fiance or wife anything that you're doing that can be used against you, because you can't expect her to hold it down. Now, if she holds it down, that's great. That's a plus. But if she don't, you can't be mad at her for not holding it down because she's not in the streets. Now, I do understand that it's a discrepancy sometimes where people will say, well, she accepted everything good that was coming from the streets, the cars, the clothes, the money, everything you were doing for her. So now when times get hard, she break bad. Yes, she's going to break bad because she was only there for the cars, the cribs, the clothes, the money. And once that's gone, she's gone too. But y'all not picking women of substance. Y'all picking women who want to get the bag and want to be lit and want to be famous and XYZ, right? So anyway, man, salute to this guy. I'm glad he got found guilty, man. And one of the biggest reasons I'm glad he got found guilty because he dragged his son into something that he was too scared to go do himself. Now, I'm not advocating for robberies, but if he would have went in with him on a robbery, then I would have said, I mess with this guy. You know what he really should have did? He should have not did the robbery, but if he was going to do the robbery, he should have told his son, I need you to drive me somewhere to do something. But he a goofy, and he played a goofy game and got a goofy prize. Congratulations, you get life in jail. Michael Jordan's son was on vacation, and he was caught allegedly caught sniffing cocaine. Michael Jordan's son, Marcus, was allegedly sniffing cocaine. Now, if he was sniffing cocaine in the south of France, his behavior and everything that's been going on with him dealing with Larsa Pippen makes perfect sense to me. T.I. arrested at an Atlanta airport for mistaken identity. They basically said the other guy had the same name as him, but with the technology now, they should be able to pull up the guy identity based off a computer, and they should have been easily able to get a picture printed to them, or they could have asked over the walkie-talkie, hey, what does this guy look like? And it looked like they were saying he had like a warrant out for his arrest. So to me, this smells fishy. I don't know what's fishy about it, but T.I. is one of the biggest stars in Atlanta. Now, I'm not saying that everybody knows him, but what I'm saying is once you see a T.I., you should be able to call in and say, hey, this guy's saying his name is T.I. Clifford Harris. He's saying he's a celebrity. Can you guys, like, literally you can call to the police station and say, hey, we want you to Google this guy, see how he looks on a computer, and compare his picture, this famous celebrity guy picture on a computer, to the picture of the mugshot that you guys or that we have in our system, because he's saying it's not him, and he pulled up on his phone or whatever it may be. It should be an easier way to figure out that this is T.I. instead of taking him to jail and then releasing him. Now, I'm not saying it's fishy on T.I. part, but I'm saying something ain't right with this situation. I don't know what it is, but in my mind, something can't be right if you can't figure out who a celebrity T.I. is. You don't need to be on the police force. Once again, this is Fairplay 2333 of Same Spit Different Face podcast. Well, my opinions is facts, and if you don't like my opinion, you can start your own podcast. And if you do like my own opinions, you can hit the like and subscribe button, and you can also follow me on all platforms. Check out my original Chicago hood movie in the end screen, No Time to Play Fair. Once again, this is Fairplay 2333 of Same Spit Different Face podcast. Well, my opinions is facts, and if you don't like my opinions, you can start your own podcast. And if you do like my opinions, you can hit the subscribe button and follow me on all platforms. Peace.